morning, everyone.
Sir, I know this is not your file, but in the absence of Minister Thompson, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, what do you make of what some healthcare workers are voicing as concerns related to go live for the new CIS on Saturday? Sort of the view that, look, we want this, we need this, but we do not feel ready yet.
It's time to move forward. I mean, this is a project that's been in the making for over 10 years, I guess. Thousands and thousands of hours of preparation. It's really important to the healthcare system. I mean, right now we have so many different systems that are trying to talk to each other. We have patients that are having to sit down and tell their own story numerous times, and that's not efficient, but it's really difficult for people as well. So there's been a lot of work put into being ready, certainly with the IWK rollout experience. Some lessons were learned, some improvements were made. So I know there's a team that's been working hard on training and getting people ready. There'll always be a bit of nerves, I'm sure. My dad used to say, if you're not nervous, you're not ready. So it's okay to be nervous. It's a really important change. But the system's ready, and the system will be better with this new OPR than it is right now.
The persistent rumor that I've heard from some healthcare workers that so far no one has been able to dispel, and I wonder if you can, that the reason why May 9th has not been shifted is because there's a clause in the contract with Oracle that says that if it doesn't go live by then, there's a penalty. Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware of that, and I would just dispel that categorically. We would never put patients at risk because of a clause in the contract, ever.
If we could shift topics, as Energy Minister, are you aware of whether or not Dow has settled on how many of the 7 bidders they'll move forward with for exploratory drilling?
Yeah, so I think they had. I think they did have 7. They had another whole batch of expressions of interest that people wanted to get into the data room. So I think the response is very positive, I would say, from where we started to where we got to. And there's obviously more work to be done. But my understanding of the exact stage that we're in the process is that there's a technical team at Dow that's going through the applications. And they will or have, I just may not have seen it myself, but narrowed down to a proponent to move forward with.
Just one?
I'm not sure if it's one or there'll be at least one, is my understanding. I'm not sure of the number just yet, but it's that's certainly pretty close.
And then they have to make a recommendation to the province, isn't that right?
I think so. I think they'll make a recommendation to the department, yeah.
So do you have veto power over that, or what's the purpose of that recommendation?
I don't know that I have veto power. There might be, but it's certainly the reason we have the relationship with Dow is because of their expertise and their reputation, and we want to work with them. So we're interested in where it makes sense, safely, sustainably, where it's technically makes sense to that committee. We're wanting to move forward. So if they make a recommendation to move forward, I'm sure we'll be accepting that recommendation.
Get to that point. Because I think one thing I've heard from people who are following this is, they want to know when they're going to know. What's the process for informing the public once you settle on how many proponents have been greenlit to move forward?
I'm sure you'll probably do that pretty quick for us, but certainly it's my understanding and certainly would be my expectation that we'll go back to anyone who made an application and provide them some feedback on their application. We do that first. I think that's fairly imminent. We would go back to anyone who has made an expression of interest to, hey, we kind of missed these deadlines, but we're still interested in wanting to get in the data room. Go back to them with some feedback and some instructions, and I think we would do that, and then there would be a press release and announcement to the public. For sure.
This is the first that I've heard about folks who maybe wanted to try to get in and they were a bit late. Do you know how many people are in that? How many proponents are in that group?
I don't know, but I hope it's a lot. And certainly, that was one of the main focuses of the trip to Calgary a few weeks ago, whenever that was, just to talk to industry professionals, leaders in the industry, and just really reiterate what was happening, what we were doing with Dow, and and I know from that there were a couple companies that said, okay, we didn't really fully understand what's happening there, we are interested. So I think there was at least a couple or a few that came out of that, but I don't have a full number for you.
Do you expect that all of the money that's available to support this exploration is going to be used up with what we're going to see announced?
I don't think it would be used with this round, but it's my expectation that it will be used for this purpose. So if there is, and same with offshore bids. I mean, we just closed an offshore bid round, but we've already indicated there'll be a regular schedule of calls for bids. There'll be more bid rounds that will open up, and I would think this would be the same. That's kind of the practice in the industry.
So how quickly would you expect to see onshore exploration getting underway?
Well, first off, we'd have to get through who's where, right? And then they have to get drill rigs here. We don't have an industry here, so they don't have drill rigs here. So I think that's part of the assessment of the applications that's happening, is to look at, like, when you can get drill rigs here and crews here and stuff. But as was laid out in the process, the timelines that were initially laid out were kind of just laid out to send a message we're serious, and there's a sense of urgency. So I think the initial timelines would have had drilling this year. I don't know if that'll be possible. When they'll have to go through the applications and see. But I think the message to Nova Scotians should be: we have significant opportunities to use natural gas. We're using some. We can use more. We pay a lot for it. We get it all from the United States. Every bit of it comes through the United States. That's not a great position to be in right now. And we have a resource under our feet, which we can hopefully access, and we'll make sure it's safe and it's sustainable, and it will be much more affordable than the gas we're getting now. So the message to Nova Scotians is we are serious about understanding what's possible, and we'll work closely with Dalhousie and the industry to make that case to Nova Scotians.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Your trip to Texas recently, you've gone down there again. I'm wondering if you can update us on the goals there. Are you building any relationships with any international companies? And might we see some, or maybe you can point us to, but when might we see some fruits of that?
Well, I think you saw the fruits with the bid round this time. $200 million of bids, a commitment for work in the offshore of Nova Scotia. You don't get that level of interest and that level of commitment from sitting in question period across the street. You get that by going out and looking people in the eye and building relationships. We're pretty far behind the 8 ball, so we had to bring up and move. But I would say that the difference in the interest level and the excitement about the Nova Scotia opportunities is very significant this trip compared to when I first started going. People understand the opportunity is there, and they're interested in talking about it. So I would say the fruits are, we're seeing the fruits of the efforts already. There's more to be had.
The offshore bids.
Follow up to that, for the projects that you announced there, the offshore and others that are going ahead, it seems the proponents are Nova Scotia based. When might we see that expand into more interest from abroad? Or do you think there's still, you've said this before, but there might be a general feeling around that it's too risky to do business?
No, there has been. We're overcoming that. The major international companies are very interested in I think there's probably, I would say there's quite a bit of regret right now that they didn't bid this time. But we had to. We were so far behind the 8 ball. Like, think about the government certainly that preceded mine. Bans, moratoriums, shut things down, coupled with a federal government at the same time, banning things, not letting things happen, no major projects in our entire country for 10 years. Pretty damaging reputation. So we had to overcome that. And we had to overcome that and then build some level of interest. And then from the interest, build it up to the bid process. So we're still getting there. I think we were very close this time. And that's why we'll have future bids as well. But I'm actually very proud that the proponent who bid on the offshore is that company is driven by a Nova Scotian. And that has been noticed. Like a Nova Scotian standing up and saying, this is a place where there is a resource and there is an opportunity, and I am making a very, very significant bid. Like, that bid was significant because of the interest that was generated in the industry. So Nova Scotians standing up and saying, I believe in Nova Scotia, very powerful. And we have to use that to overcome the Nova Scotians that are standing up and saying, you shouldn't do business here. And we see a lot of that too from the opposition, but from others as well. So the fact that a Nova Scotian stood up and said, Nova Scotia is the place, and I want to be part of it, and I want to lead this, that is something we should all be proud of.
The same bidder was rejected a few years ago. What was different this time?
Justin Trudeau is now gone.
Is that,
But the province
is it that simple?
also
Yeah.
vetoed that.
Yeah, I mean, we have huge opportunities in offshore wind, massive. Massive opportunities in offshore oil and gas. Justin Trudeau was anti-oil and gas and essentially said, if you approve that, I won't talk to you about offshore wind.
But it was a joint veto of Ottawa and
Yeah,
province.
because we wanted to move something forward, and it was the offshore wind that we pushed forward. Now we have a new prime minister and a new energy minister who want to grow our economy so we can do more, so we can support the services across the country, but certainly in Nova Scotia. So I think what has changed is the political environment.
Just to be perfectly clear, Ottawa would not move forward with offshore wind with Nova Scotia if you were to go ahead with that offshore petroleum bid.
To be perfectly clear, the resource hasn't changed. The politics have.
Just on something different for a colleague, do you see the continued maintenance of the Cobequid Pass tolls as being counter to the idea of expanding interprovincial trade?
No, that toll has been there for, I guess, 30 years. We've made some changes, so we've decreased it. I think, and then obviously they made the change on the tolls here at the bridges as well. So I'm in favor of reduced tolls for sure. Look, I'm happy to have a discussion if somebody does. Nobody's raised it with me. I think the New Brunswick toll that they're introducing, or at least contemplating, that's pretty punitive to people who only have one route to get to Nova Scotia. Like, there's only one way to go. The Cobequid situation is a little different. There are other ways you can go to get through.
If a transport truck, for example, is going to the pier, surely they're going to take that route, right? And so
Sure.
I guess what I'm wondering is what is the difference in that sense between us maintaining the tolls at the pass and what New Brunswick says it wants to do?
Because there are other routes. That's a choice, right? You can take a shorter route, for sure. But there's another route you can take too if you really don't want to pay the toll. But there's no other way to get to the rest of Canada for us.
What are you hoping comes out of the result of the ambassador's visit to Nova Scotia this week?
Oh, this is really positive. I mean, there's 46 ambassadors here from around the world. I understand they're having an incredible trip where they're seeing what Nova Scotians already know about how amazing this province is, and they're learning about opportunities in Nova Scotia. They're learning about opportunities in Canada. So I'm really, really thankful that so many came, that we have such a big group here, and hope they're having a great trip. And there's lots to see, and there's lots of business to be done. So I'm thankful they're here.
When are you going to call a by-election?
We'll have a candidate next week, I guess Monday night. I'm excited about that, to real quality people. And they've been working. They signed up an incredible number of members, over 400 members. I guess it's incredible what they've signed up, and those are all people who became members of the party and paid to do that. So that's a significant thing. So I'm really happy about that. So we'll get a candidate and we'll go from there.
Will you wait until all three parties have candidates for the by-election?
I think the other parties have their candidates now. I don't know if there's anyone that doesn't, except for us. So, but my commitment has been that they'll have an MLA for that area. If that's what the court's decided, the court's decided that. So we want to fulfill that promise.
Any other questions? Thank you,
Thanks, sir.
Premier.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Well, I wanted to get here, you guys.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.